In the heart of the forsaken woods there stood an old decaying cabin, its rotting wood and moss-covered roof testaments to years of neglect. Few dared ventures near it, for the stories whispered about the place were enough to chill the bravest soul. But curiosity can be a cruel mistress, and one dark and stormy night a group of friends decided to explore the cabin's secrets. The friends, Ella, Jake, Mia, and Ben, had always been drawn to the macabre, seeking thrills in the unknown. On this fateful evening they gathered around a flickering campfire, the wind howling through the trees like a mournful symphony. "Have you guys heard the story of the Grimsby cabin?" Ella asked, her eyes gleaming with mischief. Mia shivered. "I've heard bits and pieces. Something about a family that disappeared." "That's right," Ella replied. "Legend has it that the Grimsby family lived here years ago. One night, they vanished without a trace, leaving behind all their belongings and even their dinner still on the table." Jake chuckled. "Sounds like they skipped town. I'd do the same if I lived in a place like this." But Ben, always eager for a challenge, couldn't resist. "What if we spend the night in the cabin just to see if there's any truth to the story?" Mia scoffed. "You're joking, right?" But Ben was serious, and his friends, despite their reluctance, agreed to the adventure. Armed with flashlights and sleeping bags, they approached the cabin as the storm raged around them. The moment they stepped inside, a putrid stench assaulted their senses, like rotting flesh mixed with mildew. The air was thick and oppressive, and cobwebs hung in every corner. The cabin's interior was a decrepit mess, furniture covered in mold, torn wallpaper hanging in tatters, and a layer of dust so thick it coated their shoes. Ella led the way, her flashlight illuminating the eerie scene. "Look at this," she whispered, pointing to the table in the kitchen. Plates of food sat untouched, as if the Grimsby family had vanished in the middle of dinner. Jake shuddered. "This place gives me the creeps." But Ben was undeterred. "Let's split up and explore. Maybe we'll find something that explains what happened here." Reluctantly, they agreed, each venturing to a different room. Ella wandered into a dark bedroom, her flashlight revealing an old tattered diary on the nightstand. She opened it and began to read, her voice trembling. "The darkness calls to us," Ella read aloud. "We hear the whispers in the night, and it hungers for our souls." A chill ran down her spine as she continued reading about the family's descent into madness. Meanwhile, in another room, Mia discovered a wall covered in disturbing drawings, horrific images of twisted, grotesque creatures that seemed to writhe and come to life in the dim light. Back in the living room, Jake stumbled upon a trapdoor hidden beneath a frayed rug. Curiosity piqued. He opened it and descended into a narrow, dimly lit cellar. The walls were lined with shelves, and on them rows upon rows of jars containing strange pickled specimens, a grotesque menagerie of twisted limbs, misshapen heads, and unidentifiable horrors. Mia, Ella, and Ben soon joined him in the cellar, their faces pale with shock. "What is this place?" Mia whispered. Ben inspected the jars, his voice trembling. "These are human body parts." Suddenly, the cellar door slammed shut, leaving them in complete darkness. Panic set in as they fumbled for their flashlights, their beams revealing the chilling truth. A sinister figure standing before them, stitched together from the gruesome contents of the jars. The creature lunged at them with unnatural speed, its grotesque limbs reaching out. A desperate struggle ensued, but they were no match for the abomination. One by one, the friends fell to its unholy wrath, their screams echoing through the cellar as their lives were brutally extinguished. As the storm outside raged on, the Grimsby cabin claimed 4 more souls, adding to the macabre legend that had lured them there. The cabin would stand for years to come, a cursed monument to the horrors that dwelled within its rotting walls, and those who dared to enter would become its latest victims, forever lost to the darkness that hungered for their souls.